to the Grease Den. I'm Brad, and I live here in the Grease Den. So yeah, I haven't made a video in a while because I've been really busy with life and just generally haven't really felt like making videos, so I haven't been making the videos. But you know, I have acquired some new gear, and I feel like making a video again, so why not, you know? In this world we live in, you know, there's less and less people actually dedicating themselves to the art of rock and roll. It's a dying genre, unfortunately. It seems that way to me anyways. My first concert was Kiss, and that was in 1999, or no, it was 2003, something like that. It was a long time ago, but you know, and they were old then, you know, so what do we have left these days, you know? I'm not interested in any modern rock or any modern metal. I grew up on the classics, and I'm going to listen to the classics until I die, you know, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Slayer, Black Sabbath, Kiss, you know, AC/DC. Those are the best bands, and that's the kind of stuff that inspires me to make music. So whatever your favorite bands are, try to find the people that are interested in those bands and surround yourself with those people and create music that sounds like what you want to hear, you know? And even though I'm in a bit of a creative rut right now, I know that, you know, by spending time with others, you know, joining other bands, I've joined a couple of bands over the past 6 months just to learn other people's music and to be able to like explore what other people's styles are like, you know? And I have time for it because I'm not so busy with my own stuff right now, you know? And so I'm trying to like look at it in a positive light, you know, because like ultimately I've got one life to live, and I intend to play as much rock and roll as I can while I'm here, you know. So yeah, let's get into the guitars. Yeah, let's just get right to it. This is a 1984 Japanese American hybrid U-Series Ironbird from 1984. It's BC Rich. Has the R logo right here. It's kind of an aged white ivory, and man, this is a sweet guitar. Everybody who's played this guitar has basically just been, you know, speechless because of how good it plays. You know, they made guitars different in the 80s and the 70s because players were demanding in those times, and they had to be high quality instruments, because it wasn't just people collecting guitars to play them once or twice and hang them on a wall or invest it just as investment pieces. These were players' instruments. These were designed to go on the road, and this is just a beautiful example of a mid 80s BC Rich guitar. The U-Series, I think it ran from like 83 to 86 or 87, and it was essentially a step down from a USA series. The bodies, which are neck through, all of the U-Series were neck through, and it has just a beautiful carve right here, you know, and we'll compare it to some of my other guitars, my other neck throughs. The carve on this is just, it's really something. It just has a feel to it that's very unique and very pleasing. So yeah, they're all hand carved, I would assume, in Japan. The bodies and necks were joined in Japan and then shipped over. And as much as I can understand it, they were shipped to Los Angeles, where BC Rich was headquartered, and they were assembled, and they were painted, equipped with hardware, set up, and then put for sale, you know. You don't see these very often. You don't see Ironbirds that often. You especially don't see U-Series Ironbirds that often, let alone a white U-Series Ironbird, which is like my personal favorite color. I have another white Ironbird, which we'll get into a little later. But this is just a really special instrument, and you know, I tried to talk myself out of buying it because it really wasn't a great time for me to be spending money. I mean, you guys, if you've watched the channel, you know I've got all this equipment, you know, and I'm not like a lot of other YouTubers where I'm making money from this, or I have like, you know, maybe some money from like another, you know, all the money I have to spend on this comes from working a 40 hours a week at a job I hate. Okay, and I have to do that because I have to live in society, unfortunately. Anyways, not all this stuff is paid off. A lot of it is, though. So I'm very blessed and very lucky that I've been able to find and buy these things, you know. And I have a very particular taste when it comes to instruments. I like BC Rich guitars. I'm still looking for a Charvel. I want a Model 2 from the 80s, and I hope that will be next. But yeah, let's just get back to this. Yeah, so the U-Series, it's mahogany body, mahogany neck, which was very unique. I think this is actually the mahogany right here. It might be a cap. It came stock with a bone nut. You can tell this is an older nut because it's aged, much like the finish on the guitar is aged to sort of like a light yellow, you know. And then rosewood fretboard. It's very dark. That might be due to age. The serial number on this particular one is here on the fretboard, which is unusual because typically the serial number would be stamped into the back of the headstock on these guitars. It's possible that this was a very early U-Series. It's also possible this is a USA guitar. The seller I bought it from, I got it off eBay. Didn't list a whole lot of information, and the pictures were not completely accurate to what the actual instrument looked like when I got it. It was a little more yellow than it was in the pictures, and which is fine. It's a beautiful instrument, and I love it. But they weren't describing the fact that, you know, the bridge was completely seized up, and this is not the original hardware. This came with a gold Kahler 2300. No tremolo bar. One of the saddles had no height adjustment screw, and it's seized up in place, so you couldn't adjust the action. It was unplayable, and I was expecting that. Most 80s guitars that have been played are unplayable when you get them in 2025. It's a 40-year-old guitar, okay? This is older than me. Not a lot older than me, but it's older than me. And yeah, so I knew it was going to need some work. And honestly, I prefer black hardware. These are period correct Grover mini rotomatics, which I was able to source in black. You know, these are from the 80s. I had an extra Kahler nut. I had some silver screws as well, so I put those on there. I wanted to give it a little bit of bling, you know, a little bit of bling. And I ordered a stainless steel Kahler tremolo bar here, heavy metal bar they used to call it. And this one's really nice because it stays in place. I don't know if that'll last forever. Might wear in. This Kahler came off of another guitar. I rebuilt this Kahler. It has Teflon rollers, heavy springs. I oiled it and set it up. Plays incredible. Super low action. It's about a millimeter on the high side and about 1.5 on the low side. That's how I like most of my guitars. It was kind of a pain to get it set up at first. A lot of string buzzing was going on. I did have to take it to a luthier to have the frets professionally leveled. I was told the frets are Dunlop 6100 jumbo frets, which is my new favorite fret because it just feels perfect. You know, it's I don't really like those extra jumbo frets they put on all these guitars nowadays. They feel like speed bumps when I'm trying to riff and stuff. They feel great for solos, but like when I'm just trying to play power chords, it just slows me down and it gets in the way. And this guitar doesn't have that problem. It's also a shorter scale, 24.75 inches. And yeah, I mean, this is just like one of the best guitars in the world. It's a unicorn. It's the holy grail, possibly the holy grail of Ironbirds. This is the original Mark I Ironbird shape. This is before the NJ series added a scoop here, and then later the Mark II shortened the top horn and added a little winglet over here and kind of shaped it a little differently. So this is definitely the best of the Ironbirds as far as the shape. It has the harpoon headstock, which was the original headstock designed with this guitar. It only appears on the Ironbird. They recently reissued it on the Legacy series, so you can still get a similar guitar to this, but it's much more balanced than the modern Ironbird because you know, you put a 25 and a 25.5 inch scale neck on a guitar that doesn't really weigh a whole lot, it just neck dives. But if you can shorten that down, you know, it's a lot more manageable. And I just think that every Ironbird should have this scale length, you know. I mean, they got it right the first time. They just kept on making it worse over the years, unfortunately. But anyways, yeah, I just love this thing. I replaced the humbucker. I did a lot of electronic work in it. There's not a lot of electronics to really do much with. A lot of these things had toggle switches with some internal preamps or phase splitting and things like that. This was really clean. It just has, you know, a single volume knob. But I'll tell you what I did. I replaced the, it has a original DiMarzio Super Distortion, which I still have. And I put a Avedissian Railsplitter in here because, as you guys might know, that's my favorite pickup. And yeah, it just didn't feel right without it in there. So I put it in there, and it feels right now. It has a lot of mids, has a lot of gain, or a lot of, you know, just output. I haven't tested the output on this, but I'll do that before I publish this video, and it will appear on the screen now. And yeah, after that, I got a, it's called a Becos Preamp Booster, I think. And it's basically a little board attached to a push-push pot, similar to the John Petrucci Music Man, Sterling Music Man guitars have a push-push pot, which is gives it a preamp boost, and you see it just pops up like that. And it has 3 knobs. It has a gain knob, which adds 24 dB of boost, has 9 volts in there, obviously. I shielded the interior. I'll put a picture on the screen. And I also had to rewire the actual unit because the pot wouldn't fit with the board attached. So I had to relocate the board and rewire everything. And it was a real pain. But I'm really happy with it now. And it just adds a little bit of a volume boost for solos. And eventually I'm going to carve a new back plate, which will have a small opening here to allow the 3 knobs for the bass, treble, and gain as a bass and treble knob as well. And so it really lets you kind of craft your tone. But it is a little bit overkill, to be honest. And it kind of has a bit of a unusual sort of a tone. It's not exactly it doesn't exactly turn any pickup into an EMG. It has its own kind of a sound, and it's a bit twangy, but it can also do the mid boost, and you can dial that out. So it just adds a lot of versatility to this guitar, which kind of lacked versatility, to be honest, at first. I mean, it's literally one pickup. The advantage of this, though, is that it's extremely easy to do work on this thing. If you ever need to just like take all the hardware off, you want to clean it, I mean, like, it's literally a 10-minute job to take all this stuff off. You can take the keep the strings on it, you know, basically, and just do whatever you want over here. And yeah, this is a mean guitar, man. Put some strap locks on it, stays in tune, screams. So yeah, we'll hear it at the end of the video. Yeah. This is a 1985 NJ Ironbird, and it is presumably the same age as the U-Series. It might be a year after, it might be the same year. Very similar specifications, 24.75 inches of the neck on the neck on here. It came with a bone nut. I don't know if it came with a bone nut from the factory, but it's an aged bone nut, so it's very possible. It has a Kaler Flyer, which I did some upgrades to put the pro model saddles on it here, and you know, add the heavy springs, heavy arm here. It's got a rail. I put a rail splitter in it, and this rock field in the neck. Originally, I think these had like a DiMarzio, or maybe it was a Seymour Duncan knockoff kind of thing. I'm not really a huge fan of the stock NJ, you know, pickups. They're pretty bright. just like the Super Distortion, it's pretty bright, you know, and these guitars are already pretty bright. Honestly, I don't know enough about the NJs. Like I've done more research on the U-Series. I believe it has a mahogany neck, and it might have a mahogany body. I can't remember from having looked inside, but these were, you know, assembled in Japan, completely finished in Japan, painted in Japan. The paint is a little bit different. I think it's a little bit thinner. It's a very similar color. It's aged a little bit differently. It's a little bit less yellowed, and if I remember correctly from having taken off this Kahler, it's painted in the cavity. So you know, the U-Series was not routed from the factory. It was routed in the USA, so it has a well, I guess they routed it after they painted it, because it has a bare wood inside of that. Yeah, and you know, the electronics are pretty much stock. I might have changed some pots, but basically stock on this. You know, it's a great guitar. It has a bit of a wide neck. I did change these. I'm going to change these back though to the stock ones. But it came, I think, with Goto hardware. You know, the Japanese NJs are renowned for having the sticker on the headstock here. Later on, they would put the information be on the neck plate. Let's say, you know, BC Rich LA and then the serial number. But at that time, they were putting the stickers on the headstock, so that's a good way to recognize if you have a Japanese guitar. Yeah, this has been my main guitar for many years until last year. I started collecting some different instruments and kind of hasn't been played as much. Probably had the same frets originally. They've been fret leveled quite a bit more than the U-Series. That U-Series is in a good bit better shape cosmetically. This one has a lot more dings. I think it was played a lot more heavily. It actually came from the Ukraine. That was where I ordered it from. It came from the Ukraine back in 2017. So yeah, this is another one that I'm not gonna ever sell, honestly. I thought about it when I got the new one, but I can't part with it. As you can see, the cut is a little bit more rounded right here than the U-Series. You can see the similarities here. They're virtually the same size. Headstock is quite a bit longer on the U-Series, a little bit longer. And it's a little bit more yellowed. The neck is also a bit wider on the NJ series. The U-Series is very unique in that it has a, I believe, a 7.25 inch radius, but it might be a 9 inch radius. It's more likely a 9 inch radius, but it feels like a Fender because of that. And it's got a little bit closer, tighter of a string spacing than one of these guitars, or most guitars for that matter. It's part of what makes it like so unique and special, you know, is that they don't make a guitar that has like a 9 inch radius, 24.75 inches. Probably the closest thing would be like a PRS. I think that maybe the PRS has like a short scale with quite a bit of a radius on the neck. These are a bit flatter, probably more like 12 inch radius, sort of like a more modern BC Rich feel. This is pretty much the archetype for all the BC Rich guitars that followed. The NJ series was pretty much just the specification that they went ahead with for their mass-produced instruments. Yeah, love this guitar. Anybody's watched my channel, I've been playing this one in quite a few videos. This is a 2023 Mark II Ironbird. This is like a new production. I did change the pickups in this. Originally it had the Fluence pickups, which I think are shit. And I changed it for an Avedissian Railsplitter and a Cultion in the neck. Added a heavy block to the Floyd. You know, I can't really say if I like the Floyd better or the Kahler. I would say the Floyd is probably better. You can do more with it. But the Kahler's fine, you know, especially when it's kitted out. You know, they sound great to me. You know, some people say they're like plinky, but I don't see it. You know, maybe they just need to be playing more and, like, you know, plugging into an amp, you know, for once, instead of just like listening to your unplugged guitar plinking around. But yeah, this is a sick guitar. Reverse headstock. You know, I had to have this. It has the bound body. This is like basically what a custom BC Rich Ironbird would be spec'd at if I were to get one, you know. But yeah, it has the XJ frets, and it's a bit of a beast to play on, to be honest. It needs like a fret level to get it just like down to jumbo height, but I can't really justify it, you know. I just need to play it more and let the frets wear down naturally. It's got an ebony fretboard. Yeah, these are great. These new Korean BC Rich guitars really got it right. You know, satin neck. Excellent guitars. You know, push-pull knob. It activates or splits the coil in the bridge. Sounds really good through a clean channel with some compression and some detune. Just sounds huge. You know, it's a beautiful tone. I haven't really found a spot to use it yet in a song, but it's a tremendous tone machine, you know. Yeah, it's a great guitar. This is my first guitar that had a tremolo on it. This is a, I want to say it's a 2012, maybe 2013 Jackson RRXMG. It's been through some different cosmetic adjustments, but essentially it's pretty close to stock, I guess. Well, not really. One time I tried to stain the fretboard and it wore off. Didn't take. It has the special, which I hate. I need to replace this for it to be playable, because honestly it just feels bad and it doesn't stay in tune. And everything, I've tried changing the parts in it, and it just, there's nothing I can do about it. At one point it was snapping strings constantly, or they were popping out, you know, so I had to like change these little you know, saddles to titanium, and it didn't do anything, you know. And it has a push-pull for a, there's a pot in here which rolls off the bass. It's a passive bass roll-off when it's pulled up, and when it's pushed down, it is a regular tone control. So that's kind of unique. I have that on another guitar too. This is a great guitar. As you can see, the neck is, you know, it's just beautifully crafted, man. I mean, you know, this had to be done by hand, I would imagine. The craftsmanship is really high quality on these, even though it's India. It's made in India, but it's fine. You know, it plays great. I don't play it a lot, but it's great. This is another BC Rich NJ. It's an 86. It is a Bich, obviously. It's not an Ironbird. It's also glitter rock white. Glitter rock. It's got some sparkle to it, but it is aged to another cream. You know, here you can see the back plate with the serial number. Don't steal my guitar. Yeah, the neck profile is virtually the same as the Japanese model. It's identical, pretty much. Fretboard on this one is maybe a little bit darker. It's also been played a bit harder. The frets are, it's about time for a refret. These days, a refret will run you anywhere $300 to $600. More likely 600 where I live, so it's not too high on the priority list. It's playable. They still got life in them. I did replace the nut. It had originally a plastic nut, which would lead me to believe that the NJs were shipping with plastic nuts at least the Korean ones. And at this point, they started to add the little script that says NJ series on the headstock. I really like that. That looks cool. Yeah, it's a shredder. It's a really good riff machine. Has a lot of weight to it. The body is hefty, so I don't worry about neck dive or anything like that. It has a really good, rich tone. No tricky mods on it. Just a rail splitter. This is from another BC Rich guitar. I put that in the neck. The nut is a mammoth bone nut, which I don't know if you can still get them, but at one time you could get these off of Stu Mac, and just the blank. And yeah, so I had them carve a bone nut out of mammoth bone. So that's like, I don't know, 500 years old at least. That little piece of nut right there. So yeah, it's got some ancient tone of death. So yeah, I like this guitar. It's great. This is a really special and sort of important guitar for me. This is my first BC Rich guitar, and I wrote a lot of songs on this when I got it back in 2016, 15, somewhere thereabouts, maybe even 14. Yeah, this is the NJ Classic series. It has nothing in common with the NJ series, so I don't know why they called it that. It was made in Korea, but maybe it was made in the same factory. It appears to be maple neck with a mahogany wings. You can see you got two different pieces of mahogany going on here. These were, you know, $500 guitars at their time, which is a real budget for a neck through. I think the route or the carve for the neck through is very close to the U-Series. Very close. It's very similar right here. The way this feels, much more so than that other Ironbird. I just love the contours of it. You know, the carve is just incredible. Feels great. And again, the fretboard feels pretty much like the NJ series, probably a 12-inch radius. You know, I don't have the tools to measure that, but I believe it to be about a 12-inch radius. The neck is medium thin, medium fat. I don't know. It just feels good in your hands. You know, it's a good sized neck. It's an awesome guitar. Just an awesome guitar. I love the dual cream pickups. It just looks really sweet. And on this one, I actually love the chrome hardware. It looks great with that. So yeah, I put an Avedissian scythe in the bridge. Has a little bit less output than a rail splitter, so you can really get a lot of dynamic tones with this guitar, some rock tones. Yeah, I love it, man. This is a sweet instrument. I believe it's a 2005, so, you know, it's getting up there. 20-year-old guitar. Still got a lot of fret life left on it. I don't know if it got played a lot. I don't know if it's... I might have had it fret leveled once. Yeah, I have, definitely. Partial level. It looks like the top frets are a lot lower than these ones up here. They're probably jumbo. They're a little bit thinner than the ones that are on the U-Series and some other guitars. But cloud inlays, ebony fretboard. Yeah, I mean, I got this for $500. I don't know if they were 800 new or what, but you know, this is just another one that I just don't think I'll ever sell, because it was my first BC Rich, and it just, even to this day, it just has riffs in it, man. Certain guitars just have riffs, and this one has riffs for days, and that's why I'm keeping it, because like I know that I'll write more music if I keep it, and it inspires me. So that's important, you know. This is I believe it's 2008. This is another Bich, obviously. It's a black 10-string. I think it was a Bich 10, right? Yeah, that's what it says on the truss rod cover. I don't know anybody that uses these as a 10-string. The chorus effect you get off of it is cool for cleans, but like, nobody buys a BC Rich guitar to play clean, you know? No disrespect to Mr. Moser, Neil Moser. He created a beautiful design, and I love it, you know, with or without these on it, you know. It's a beautiful guitar, and a beautiful shape, you know. And I'm really into it. Obviously, I have 3 of them, so you know, I have 3 Ironbirds and 3 Biches, so you can tell which shapes are my favorites, and it's those ones. Yeah, it's pretty similar to the other one. I feel like the neck is a little bit fatter. I keep this guitar in C standard. It just feels like a little more at home in like a lower tuning. It plays good. I need to replace the tuners on it. They're real bad. They come out of tune real easy. This was definitely like after the time period when BC Rich was making like good stuff. You know, they were falling off around this time. This is an exception. You know, it just needs some hardware upgrades, you know, that I haven't done. I did change the knobs though. Those look pretty cool, you know. These are 2 bare knuckle aftermaths. They have a ton of gain. Super heavy pickup. A lot of low end. They were marketed, I guess, for like djenty or like, you know, kind of mathy sounding music, but like there's so much clarity in these pickups that like when you strum a chord, you hear every note, and it's great for tuning low because it just gets muddy super easy. So I really endorse that pickup specifically. Yeah, I've played this one live in some bands, and probably written some songs on it too, you know. It's got some honest wear. It's, you know, nothing that wouldn't buff out, but you know, why bother? It's fine. Yeah. My Edwards Les Paul. This is a really cool guitar. This is the second Les Paul that I've owned. It's not too heavy, but it's, you know, got some weight to it. Probably around like 10 pounds, you know, maybe 9. Yeah, it's the John Sykes signature. Rest in peace. One of my favorite guitar players. I love the Whitesnake album. It's just perfect. If you want to hear some good rock and roll, listen to that Whitesnake album. Listen to Thin Lizzy, Thunder and Lightning. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, this guitar has an ebony fretboard, which I like a lot. It has this really unique inlay on the headstock, and I dig that. I like the script for the logo too. It looks very like Tolkien. Looks very like Hobbit-like, you know. Came stock with Godot hardware, so it stays in tune pretty good. It could stand for some like better tuners. I think I had locking tuners on it at one point, and it was still kind of acting up. So this is a great sounding instrument, even though it does kind of struggle with tuning stability a little bit. It just sounds great, feels great under the fingers. This would be my first candidate for a refret, I think, because the frets are real low, you know, and it feels so good to play this instrument. Like, I play it a lot. It's within my collection. It's very unique, you know, and I like that about it because like all my other guitars, they tend to like kind of blend together, you know. I'm just playing these Ironbirds and these Biches, and like they all just kind of like do the same thing, but like this one does something completely different and does it really well. It's a set neck, you know, fully bound. I like how Les Pauls have like 2 control cavities. It's kind of unique, and like I don't know how they like drill the hole through these. It's just nuts to me to connect them, but well, I guess they do it from here to here, but still, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, replace this with the tailpiece with a TP6. It just sounds a little bit better, you know. It's heavier, more metal. It looks more metal, you know, but it does actually add some tone. Has the same push-pull bass roll-off, which is really good for this guitar because it has a ton of bass. If you want to get real thrashy with it, you just turn it down all the way, and you just have like it's like a tight knob basically for your guitar. So that's real cool. Yeah, has the Avedissian Trailblazer in the bridge, which is just another variant that Al winds, and it's very, very nasty, very nasty. It's very greasy. So it's got a, I think a Duncan distortion in the neck. Came with distortion in the bridge. This is a great guitar. I hope I can get it refretted because then it'll be even better. Yeah, I'm just gonna demonstrate, you know, some of the tones that I have been getting out of this. My setup tonight is pretty much the same. I have the SLO and then a Diesel Einstein setup right here. Playing on channel 1, mode 3 of the Diesel Einstein, and I'm on the lead channel of the SLO with the clip switch in the up position for extra gain and bass. Like it needs it, but yeah, I love all the gain. So yeah, just gonna demonstrate some of the gain tones you can get here. Looks like I've got the KHDK Ghoul Screamer on. I'll switch over to the Michael Klein Audio Divic at some point, but yeah. Alright, so here's the Diesel Einstein. God damn, dude. I keep on blowing tubes. Oh! My Einstein just died again. I keep blowing tubes in it. I think it just needs a cap job and a general like looking over. So that's unfortunate. Thanks a lot for watching my video, guys. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Yeah, I really do like doing content every now and again. So if you have any suggestions or if you want to see me do certain things with the gear I have, just let me know, and I'll do it. Rock on.